Hey, and welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Wow, it's been like a week, folks, since we've been here, and I'm sorry that we have not been on, but we've just been so busy, and you've got the World Cup and 4th of July and the whole thing like that. But we are here again, folks, to bring you some news and to get you all caught up with everything that's going on. And this one, I think, is probably going to flip your wig. It really is. I think this is going to be something that you're not going to really be expecting. On this broadcast today, we're going to be talking about a guy who most people I think he's flying under the wire, but he's emblematic of an issue we have in America that I just stumble upon this, but it's so important. We got to get this out. I was studying a guy by the name of Abdul El-Sayed, and he's running for the Senate over in Michigan. And as I was digging into him and doing some background on him and just getting completely flabbergasted by this guy, I noticed that there was a similarity. There were some things that were going on here in America that I don't think most people even know is going on. So we're going to be talking about progressivism and the rise of Islam in America, and it all came as a way of talking about this guy named Abdul El-Sayed. So when we come back, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll be back in a second for more of the Nevada Conservative Podcast. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. We'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everybody had a great time during the 4th of July weekend. It was just spectacular. Here in Las Vegas, folks, you've got to know, it was more than real. It's more than what we really needed. It was just like, how they had it out in Washington, D.C., and they had some crazy stuff going on out there. It was the same thing here. It was just so much going on. And so we're back now. Nobody got killed or anything like that, which is great. And so we're very excited about that too. Before we get going too much further, I want to let you know that you can check us out on our Facebook page. You can check us out on Instagram, TikTok. We're on TikTok now, Spotify, and all kinds of other places out there too. So we're very excited about that. And so go ahead and hit the subscribe button that's right next to you there, and hopefully you're able to get connected with us. And I want to thank the folks that are checking us out on Facebook. Literally tens of thousands of people are actually checking us out, and our social media feed was just blowing up all day long. Especially this last thing when we had Graham Plattner, because we had been following Graham Plattner so closely that when we finally posted something about it, it just went nuts. And the people in Maine, people in New York, of course here in Las Vegas. So we're national. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much. But something was going on in the background that I think most of us, I know I had my eye over to the corner, but I happened to come across this, guys. I really did, because I was doing some studying on this guy. His name is Abdul El-Sayed, E-L-S-Y or S-A-Y-E-D, and I was looking at who he is, what he's doing, because he's running for office. He's another one of these Democrat socialists. And something just did not sit well with me on this guy. And as I was looking at him, I started saying to myself, you've got to be kidding me. This guy needs to be we need to get into him a little bit more. So I want to start off by saying, first of all, guys, this is not to scare you about anything. This is all factual based stuff. I don't want to be an alarmist. I don't want to be a flamethrower or anything like this. I want you to understand that the more I dug into this guy's life, the more I started going, huh. You know what I mean? When you look into somebody's life, you go, there's something wrong here, and I've got to get into it more and more and more. So I just wanted to put that out there right now. So Abdul El-Sayed, who's this guy? You might know him as a progressive Democrat running for U.S. Senate in Michigan. He's a doctor, former public health director, media guy, building his own platforms. But when you look deeper at his background, his Egyptian heritage, and some of his past statements, it raises bigger questions about patterns of political influence in America. And that's really what it's all about, the political influence in America. Not to scare anyone, it's just to inform you guys. Okay, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be like one of those guys that says, oh, you know what, the sky's falling, because it's not falling, guys. But we have to be vigilant in everything we do as conservatives. We're talking about democratic participation, documented strategies from ideological movements, and how they intersect with constitutional systems. We'll start with El-Sayed's story, because really he's just part of this whole thing, and how this all unfolded in our conversation and research. And then we'll zoom out to Muslim representation into Congress and the broader dynamic it all plays. So stick around, folks. This is going to be really good. So who is this guy? Who is this Abdul El-Sayed guy? Okay, his real name is Abdul Rahman Mohammed El-Sayed, and he goes by Abdul El-Sayed. He was born in 1984 in Michigan to Egyptian parents. His dad was Egyptian. His mom was an American. He's a U.S.-born citizen with deep Egyptian roots on his dad's side. And he's built a resume, guys. And this is very interesting how these guys build these resumes. He built a resume. He's a Rhodes Scholar. His medical degree, public work in Detroit. And he ran for Michigan governor in 2018 as a progressive Democrat backed by, of all folks, Bernie Sanders and AOC. Now he's eyeing the U.S. Senate in Michigan. But the more we looked at this guy, the more things got weird, okay? Especially tying into his Egyptian family and their background and some public statements he made. And the more layers that appeared, the more I said, something is not right with him, especially about his resume. So he had a resume, and when I first looked at him, he had a resume, and it said that he was Egyptian and U.S. He had dual citizenship, and that's when I first started looking at it. And then all of a sudden, that changed. It just changed this year, because I asked myself, okay, well, how long did it take before they realized that he had a clerical error in his resume to be a professor over at Columbia University? And it was like 14 years. 14 years? How the heck do you let something on your resume sit there for 14 years? And I'm getting ahead of myself here. But how does this happen where you've got something on your resume for 14 years, and then you start running for senator, somebody uncovers it, and you go, oh, I forgot all about that. And you take it off, okay? That's when I started saying something is not right here. That was a deliberate move, because when you look back at his life, folks, and I'm getting way ahead of myself, you're going to find out that this guy, this doesn't add up, okay? And let's finish this up real quick, and then we're going to take a real quick break, okay? His father reportedly had activist leanings against the old Mubarak. Remember, you've heard of Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. And Abdul spent summers there as a kid and as a teen reconnecting with his family. And this brings us to a story he's told himself in a 2020 book called Healing Politics on social media in TikTok. Okay, and when we get back, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about this, because this is where things started getting really shady. I mean, it just got scary, and I said to myself, something is not right about this guy. Okay, so anyways, we'll be back in just a second. We'll talk a little bit more about this guy and and why we thought something was completely wrong with this guy. Okay, this is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. We'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, we are back, folks. We are talking about progressivism and the rise of Islam in America. And once again, I just want to preface this by telling everybody, we are not doing this to say the sky is falling. I don't want to ever be, described as that guy and that's the way we roll, but that's just not the way it is, folks. What we are saying is there is something going on in America, and we need to be aware of it. Okay, is that fair enough? Okay, we really need to be aware of that. And we want to start off talking about this guy. I was doing some research on the story. His name is Abdul Rahman, I believe it is, something like that. Mubarak. Not Mubarak. El Said. And he's running for state senator, or not state senator, he's running for a senator in Michigan. I think I got that right. Okay, good. Anyways, and we want to start off talking about him because that's really what got this whole thing going, and it just got me thinking. Okay, so we're at 1998. Okay, and this is actually taken from a book he wrote called Healing Politics, and he recounts this story about him traveling to Egypt. Okay, and this is where our deep dive began in 1998. He was 13 years of age, and he flew alone from Detroit to Egypt. And I thought to myself, what? How does a 13-year-old kid fly to Egypt by himself? I mean, you know what? I want my kids to be growing up too, but I'm not letting my kid leave to go to Egypt or even go to the next state by himself at 13 years of age. But that's what his parents did. Okay. His second trip ever to go to Egypt, he decides to go there, and it was the first time he'd been there in decades. His parents sent him to reconnect with grandparents and extended family in the Alexandria area, and to brush up on his Arabic. So he was raised Arabic. Okay, so he's not raised, hey, guess what? Let's play, Dallas Cowboys or something like that. He was raised as a Muslim. And his dad really wanted it to get deep into him. Remember, his dad was a follower of Hosni Mubarak, and he believed in the whole Islam thing. That's the way his dad was, and that's the way he raised his kid. He wanted to make sure his kid got fully indoctrinated, so he sends him back to his grandparents' house in Egypt. Okay, parents don't live here. Grandparents don't live here. They live in Egypt. Wanted to brush up on his Arabic. Not brush up on his English, brush up on his Arabic. While staying with family, his grandmother warned him sternly, get this, don't talk politics. What? How many 13-year-old kids would even know what politics is or are? Hey, Johnny, how's it going? How about that constitutional okay? It just doesn't happen. But for some reason, this grandma tells him, don't talk politics like it is something that is normally taught. There's some things I don't talk to my kids right now, are older kids. I never talk to them about politics, and they know about politics. It's amazing. Don't talk about politics, she says. Mubarak's Egypt was authoritarian. So now they're under Hosni Mubarak's reign. They're authoritarian. Open criticism could be trouble, she said. And he says being a teenager, and these are things that he wrote about him. So this is open source stuff. He said being a teenager and, by his own description, a bit of an iconoclast, he defied it. What does that mean? He went downstairs or into the market and loudly shouted and cursed about Hosni Mubarak using Arabic slang from his cousins. So he was cursing the... Oh my gosh, this is crazy. That night, plainclothes police showed up at the family home asking for that boy. Where's that boy at? His grandfather, a tough market vendor, was visibly shaken. They asked for the passport because he had a passport because he's an American kid. Abdul produced his American passport. His grandfather held it up and said something like, he's an American. He has freedom of speech. You can't do anything to him, and the police left. Okay? So he holds up his passport and he says, I'm an American and you guys can't do anything to me. Okay? All right. So years later, this guy would put on his resume that he is an Egyptian and American dual citizen. And he says, oh, I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. Wait a minute. He had been going back and forth to Egypt. This was at least his second time, and later on he went again, where he had an American passport. This guy knew he did not have dual citizenship. So when he went and applied to his professorship at Columbia, the guy lied. I'm going to say it right now. I believe the guy lied about it. For what reason? I don't know. But he did. And some people say, oh, well, maybe he did it to show how ethnic he was. Okay, well, the guy's got a name like, Abdul Ram. I think it's pretty ethnic itself. But there was a reason for it. And that's what got me starting to question this whole thing. Why would this guy do something like that? It was for a reason. And I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, I think it was nefarious. Okay? Let's go on because we're gonna run out of time here, and I got to get a lot of stuff in. S1Ep shared this powerful anecdote about his U.S. passport protecting speech abroad, contrasting it with concerns he raised about freedoms at home today. It's self-reported from his book. There's no independent corroboration here. He put it out there himself. Okay, for me, this was a starting point. A personal family story about his teenage years showing early defiance against authoritarianism in Egypt. But it also highlighted his direct experience with the Mubarak era, which later connected to his adult political commentary. When he started talking about Mubarak right then and there, it actually was the match that shows you who this guy becomes now as an adult. Because he had something against the Mubarak regime. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But it tied to who he is now and what he's pushing now, folks. And that's really what it's all about. Let's take a really, really super quick break, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Muslim Brotherhood and how this kid, I'm telling you, I think something is very untoward with this guy, okay? So anyways, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. We'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, we are back. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you all for being a part of the broadcast today, guys. And I really want to encourage you, if you like what you're hearing, guys, we've got this whole thing on our website at thenevadaconservative.com, thenevadaconservative.com, and you can check it all out. We're talking about this guy. His name is Abdulram El Said, and Abdulram El Said is he's running for office. He's running for office in Michigan, and so and I just did some background on him, just to get some background on him because we were doing the background on what's the guy's name? Oh gosh, Graham Plattner. Yeah, he's gone too. So we were doing some background on him. And I started looking into this guy's background, and one thing led to another, and now we're doing a thing on him. I believe he is actually going to be that little chink in the armor of this thing we call progressivism, and I think it's getting bigger with the whole Democrat socialist thing, that people are going to start looking at this and going, oh my gosh, there's more to this than we thought. Okay. Anyways, let's fast forward in this guy's life. He's already in Egypt now, and he's protesting against Hosni Mubarak, and now and so he's come home now. 2011 now, 2012. El Said now is in his late 20s, and he's writing opinion pieces criticizing President Obama, and for not doing enough against Mubarak. He's got a hard-on for Mubarak, man. I mean, he really does. During the Arabic Spring, or the Arab Spring. You guys remember the Arab Spring, you guys, when crap was hitting the fan all over the place? Well, this kid is now in his 20s, and he's writing against how we are dealing with Mubarak and how he thinks that it's wrong, because he supported he supports this guy named Morsi. Okay, he downplayed concerns about the Muslim Brotherhood, what we call him MB, potentially taking power, and suggested some American worries were bigoted or racist. Okay, so here's when things started getting weird, and it started getting sideways. Morsi, okay, was the guy who was going to take over after they toppled the government for Mubarak. And this guy supported it. Okay, so he supported the Muslim Brotherhood-backed leader. Okay, yeah, and I know some of you are going, the Muslim Brotherhood, that doesn't sound good, right? You're right. The Muslim Brotherhood is not good, okay? There's many factions of it, but it started like in 1928. It started in Egypt, and since then has become, it's got a lot of different layers to it, okay? Yes, Hamas. Yes, Al-Qaeda. Yes, there are some very violent factions in the Muslim Brotherhood. They are not good. I don't care whether they are the non-violent ones or the violent ones. They are all bad. But this guy supports them. And he downplayed it like, oh, you're a bigot if you don't like the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay? Oh, no, you're an idiot is what you are. This is when it started getting sideways to me. Then came Mohammed Morsi, this guy. Okay? The Muslim Brotherhood candidate elected president in 2012. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay? In November 2012, Morsi issued a controversial constitutional declaration. It gave him sweeping temporary powers, immunity from his decisions, from judicial review, protection for the Islamic-dominated assembly, writing a new constitution, reopening cases against old regime figures, and broad authority to protect the revolution. Okay, he became a dictator. Okay? It did not work out, guys. This did not work out at all. It only lasted a very short period of time. This is who this guy, Abdul, is supporting. And who he says, hey, you guys are saying that the Muslim Brotherhood's not good. Oh, they're fine. They're fine, okay? This is the guy who's running for Senate here now in 2026. Critics called it a power grab. They talked about Morsi. Undermined checks and balances and judicial independence. Massive protests followed. Yeah, we call that the Arab Spring, guys. It got sideways, big time, because Arabs over there said, we don't like this. This is who this guy supported. Abdul. Yeah, Abdul supported this. He's going, yay, 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 Morsi. Down with Mubarak. Yay, yay, Morsi. Okay? Yay for the Muslim Brotherhood. Massive protests followed. Morsi framed it as necessary to break old regime sabotage. Okay, whatever. Okay? El Sayed reportedly signed a 2012 statement published in an Egyptian newspaper. How is he getting published in an Egyptian newspaper? He's a 20-something-year-old kid. But he did in 2012. Defending these revolutionary decisions. He was going, yes, yes, way to go, Morsi, way to go. This is crazy. He says they are necessary and long overdue. Dictatorship? That's long overdue? That's what he's jumping up and down about? I don't think so. This, once again, this is the guy who's running for office in Michigan right now. A supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood, a supporter of Morsi, a supporter of the takeover of our country, a supporter of a dictatorship. That's who's running for office right now. And he stands there smiling. Hello, everybody. Everybody is fine. It's fine. Okay? This drives me crazy. Okay? We're going to take a real quick break here, guys. But I know we're going to run over, guys. I just want to let you guys know that because there's so much about this. Okay? He said they're long overdue. He stood shoulder to shoulder with the elected president and rejected foreign, that means American, pressure against the regime. So he stood against his own country, who said, guess what? This should not happen. Even America said this was wrong, and he stood with the Muslim Brotherhood. And people are voting for this idiot right now. Guess what? And guys like Hassan Piker, AOC, Bernie Sanders, the Democrat Party are all standing side by side with this guy going, that's our guy. I'm surprised Elizabeth Warren isn't going, that's my kind of man. This is ridiculous, guys. It's all documented. It's reported in outlets like Just the News and the Investigative Project on Terrorism. It's all there, guys. He's also had earlier ties alleged to the Muslim Student Association at the University of Michigan, which has historical Muslim Brotherhood connections, according to some researchers. Okay. Now I'm gonna frame this before we take a real quick break. Okay. Is that this is not the violent takeover groups that he's talking about, guys. There are different levels of the Muslim Brotherhood, and the oldest form of them is over with, guys. Okay? So we've got a problem here, guys. We've got a problem with this guy, okay? In Egypt, okay, let's see. All right, let's take a real quick break, guys. We're going to take a really super quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this guy, Morsi, and about what he's doing. And it's just driving me crazy. Okay, anyways, when we get back, folks, we'll have a little bit more about what's going on with the progressivism and the rise of Islam in America. Okay, stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you guys for sticking around. Like I said, for folks that are or might watch this for the first time, you're thinking, oh, it's over in about a half an hour. We're gonna go way over this, guys. Yeah. I got so much to talk about. We're talking about progressivism and the rise of Islam in America. And I'm gonna synopsize the next half an hour into like the next 5 minutes, guys. So I want you to stick around because this is gonna go really really fast because there's a lot of information. I was asking questions about, in America, we're seeing a rise in the number of people who are running for office, assuming office, and then all of a sudden taking over our government, or taking over factions in our government, taking over positions in our government, and then all of a sudden we turn around and go, oh my gosh, we lost this right, we lost this privilege, or something like that. And this is one of them. As I was saying, this guy, El Said, is a part of the Muslim Brotherhood's, and once again, the Muslim Brotherhood has a few different factions. Al Qaeda is one, Hamas is another one. None of them are good. But the oldest form of Muslim Brotherhood believes in gradualism. Okay? And what does I mean by gradualism, or institutions and the stealth debate? Okay? A 1991 document from the Muslim Brotherhood, their network in America. It's called the Explanatory Memorandum, and it is entered into evidence in the U.S. terrorism financing trial. It outlines a strategy of settlement and a civilization jihadist process. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It outlines a strategy of settlement, kind of like colonization, but settlement, and a civilization jihadist process. It talks about making Islam a part of the homeland, building organizations, coalitions, and influence to present Islam as a civilizational alternative, essentially working within systems to transform from within. Okay, I said all that, and what it means is basically they make it so that you can eat it, so that when you see Islam, you go, oh, it's just Islam. They're just being nice people, okay? But that's not what it is at all. It's almost like, so the Democrat Socialists, okay? Democrat Socialist is socialism using the Democrat process. Does that make sense? It's socialism, which is that close to being communism, but they're using the Democrat process to present their socialism. This is the same thing that the Muslim Brotherhood is doing with Islam. They are using but they're using the Constitution. That's why this guy is so appealing to so many people. He's using the Constitution now as a way to present Islam into America, so that all you see is the Constitution. But it's got enough Islam in it that you go, oh, it's just that's just the Constitution, when it's not at all. It's gradualism. They're gradually engrafting Islam into our country so that you become desensitized to it. You're desensitized to the fact that, that aspirational community building, or one person's view of not official policy, and jihad means effort, not violence. So so now they're going, it's not jihad mean we're going to root out everything. It's effort. We're just making an effort, guys. Jihad, what's up? It's kind of like how the gay movement, the LGBTQ AI plus or whatever they are, use the rainbow to signify that's them, when it was never that at all. And now people, when they see the rainbow, instead of seeing it as something that was Old Testament, something where God says, guess what, when you see the rainbow, that it's my sign to mankind that I will never bring water to destroy the earth, okay? Now people look at the rainbow and they go, oh, it's a homosexual thing. It was gradualism. And that's exactly what's going on now. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try to get some more in here, guys, okay? Compared to this to other ideological movements, Democrat Socialists, as we said, do their thing. Progressives have long marched through the institutions, capturing education, media, bureaucracy, and parties to shift culture and policy incrementally. Okay, this is what's going on with the Democrat Party right now, guys. The Democrat Party, guess what's happening? Gradualism. They've got the DSA in there, the Democrat Socialists of America. They are going into, now they're going into the Democrat Party, and gradually, over time, they're going to take over that whole thing. You notice there's no Republican socialists, because we would go, no, ain't going to happen. Okay, we will have a group that will keep taking us to the right more, which is fine. Okay, because we want to be more conservative. But you'll never have a group of people come into the Republican Party and saying, guess what? We want you to turn more left. It'll never happen. That form of gradualism will never happen. But they did it in the Democrat Party. And that's exactly what they're doing. The question to conservatives is vigilance. Does the ideology align with constitutional principles like individual rights, secular government, and limited government? Or does it seek to subordinate it? Okay? We're not saying that every Muslim American or candidate has this agenda, but most are focused on integration, opportunity, and faith like any other group. But public figures like the one we're talking about right now deserve some scrutiny. They certainly need some scrutiny. Because these guys are definitely pushing an agenda. People like Ilhan Omar, okay? Rashida Tlaib. There's a woman by the name of Latifah Simone over in California, okay? Those folks who are in the House right now, they are pushing an agenda. And now we've got this group of DSA folks. They're definitely going to push an agenda, guys. They're definitely going to push an agenda, and we have got to be vigilant about it, okay? There's so much more on this, guys, okay? What started out as just a look into a man's background, Abdul Haram, Manamana, El Said, turned into a deep dive into the Muslim Brotherhood, Democrat Socialists of America. And I'm telling you right now, folks, I think we've got a problem on our hands. We really do. And Democrats are pushing it. They're saying, oh, we've got a big tent. Oh, we've got a big tent. Don't worry. We'll just bring them in. I don't think you understand, Democrats. These folks do not want to be a part of your tent. They want to push you outside of the tent. They are going to push you out. And if you don't watch it, they're going to push you out quicker than you think. So all you folks that are jumping up and down and you're saying, hey, guys, guess what? We've got more and more of these Muslim voters. We got all this other stuff. I want you to understand something, folks. It is not going to be very long. It's because things are speeding up. Things are really speeding up. Before you are outside of the tent looking in, and they are inside going, you ain't coming back in. Because they've taken over. Okay? Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Nevada Conservative Podcast. I want to thank you guys for being a part of the broadcast today. Once again, if you'd like to check out more of what we're doing here, folks, a part of the broadcast, write to us at thenevadaconservative@gmail.com, thenevadaconservative@gmail.com. Check us out on our website at thenevadaconservative.com, thenevadaconservative.com. Check us out on all of our platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, the whole thing, okay? Anyways, we will see you guys again next week. Take it easy. Bye-bye.